Welcome, brothers. Welcome, sisters. Welcome to our program On Target. And as usual, as soon as we start this program, you can pick up the telephone and give us a call. We never have a subject matter. We speak about anything. Politics, religion, socioeconomic issues, any issue trending. But you too can interrupt us at any moment and introduce your own topic. And we take calls. You don't have to agree with us on this program. We encourage people to express their views and opinion. You don't have to swallow the grammar book. Speak as how you could speak. Whether it is dialect, whatever you could speak, speak that way. We don't have a means to accept sign language. We wish we could. But we want Grenadians to communicate and feel comfortable about it. We don't like rules, but we encourage people to be respectful and be tolerant to one another. I strongly believe that one of our biggest challenges in the Grenada and the Caribbean is a lack of confidence in ourselves. We must be prepared to solve our own problems. Not the British, not the English, not the Japanese or the Chinese or the Russians. Grenada must be able to solve the problems that we have. And we advocate that regularly, that we must be able to solve our problems. So you can give us a call. Today we want to advise the Ministry of Agriculture, the farmers that grow soursop, and the exporters that export soursop. You don't have much exporters, maybe 5 or 6 of them, to have an emergency meeting to discuss the issue that the government has fired the workers involved in Soursop pest management control. Yes, caller.
Good morning, Mr. Pierre.
Yes, my brother, good morning.
There is a tune that Wizard sing, Tell Stone. I think this is the appropriate time that tune should be played. I want the station to analyze it and check it out and see. It's the right time to tell the story. Because what's going on now, this is the time for Stone to know. Wizard had sing this tune, Tell Stone. You can remember that tune?
Yes, I know. Well, I can't remember the tune. But,
because these people are really destroying this country. They're really destroying this country. And line is hurtful. Man, people can't get paid. People, nothing can go on with people. It's a sin, man. It's a sin. I mean, I know people now. I'm dragging all the time on them. Always pass the old people cussing. Anyhow, have a good morning. Take care. Listening.
Yes, caller. The Soursop industry brought in more than 10 million US to this economy. So that is a serious quantum. And the industry is a relatively good industry for farmers because the individuals do their own harvesting. So farmers mainly plant the trees, maintain it, and that's it. Individuals come and harvest the sauce. And the farmers get about $3 a pound, I think, minimum. $2.50, $3. So that is very good. But we have a lot of pests in Soursop. And the government fired the workers involved in pest control. When that happened, I said, well, it's the usual government looking for yellow blood to get rid of them. But they have not replaced the individuals. So if they had replaced the individuals, you would not have really heard me speaking about that. But they have not replaced the individuals they fired. So I don't know if they closed down the pest management unit. So that is a period for alarm. So I'm asking the exporters and the farmers that are involved in Soursop to have a meeting with the Ministry of Agriculture to find out what is the status. I am extremely disappointed in the extension officers, the technical officers in the Ministry of Agriculture. You're not supposed to let the government do that. You're supposed to object by providing information for the minister. Because if you close down the pest management unit without explanation, without justification, speculation going to run wild. You have to understand that. Provide information why you closed down the department, why you fired the workers involved, and you have not replaced them. Initially, I thought you just thought they had yellow blood, or green blood. So you was looking to send some people of your own inking. But now, going to several days has passed, and it seems that you closed down the department. So I believe if it is not your intention to sabotage the industry, then why close it down? Grenada is perhaps the only country in the region that can sell fresh Soursop on the U.S. market. We export fish. We export Soursop, nutmeg, and cocoa. That's the 4 main products that we export. One of the biggest challenges the Soursop industry have is space for marketing. They're not getting enough space on the airline. They don't have enough Soursop to charter a plane, and they're not getting enough space. But if the government come and close down the pest management unit, that group of individuals that involved in controlling pests in Soursop, the damage is too much. Longer you suspend pest management, is harder to recover. The Minister of Agriculture ought to have known. The person involved in pest management have to wrangle with the minister to convince him. No warning, no information was provided to the farmers. So I'm appealing to Soursop growers. Maybe you don't know that yet. And the exporters is not very many of you. It's about 6, 7 of you all. Call for emergency meeting with the Ministry of Agriculture to determine what is the government's intention. You see, I speak because I'm tongue long. And if this economy is destroyed too much, it's going to be heartaches for all and sundry. Not only farmers, because it means that our country would be in serious economic trouble. And when the country in trouble, you call on everybody to make sacrifices. So I'm appealing that Soursop growers, Soursop exporters, people who have some secondary interest in the industry, to lobby the National Democratic Congress to abort the destruction of the Soursop industry. We can't afford it. We see what happened to the banana industry. A lot of it was not of our making, was not our fault, but we were ill prepared. And it became very disadvantageous to the farmers. St. Lucia and St. Vincent and the other countries fared better because they were better prepared. They was on the ball. They was cognizant of the factors taking place, while the Grenada Banana Society was totally unprepared. We could do better in this country. We have to believe we could solve our problem. You have to remember, the government don't have much experience in managing these things. although they claim experience is nothing. And they are making rudimentary blunders. And while they are also creating an atmosphere in the ministry of suspicion. And this could be the consequence of it. So I call today on the exporters, the growers of Soursop, the pest management unit. You know how important this thing is. We cannot afford for the industry to be stressed out too much or sabotage or collapse. So I'm pleading with you to have an emergency meeting to find out what is the situation, what is the status. About 80% of Grenadians directly or indirectly involved in agriculture. Any country that so much of people directly or indirectly in agriculture are poor countries. Agriculture is a highly subsidized industry. And we produce raw material. We don't make secondary products. So the people who are making secondary products tend to make more money from it. We have a perishable commodity. And our export market is seriously affected by the transport and other international factors. If there is a drop in tourism, there could also a drop in transportation for our products. It's very easy for us to flood the market with any product. And based upon culture and marketing, we tend not to consume what we produce. People could make, perhaps even locals don't know when they use nutmeg. The average farmer in Grenada might take 2 or 3 years to locally consume about a pound of nutmeg or mace. So we depend heavily on the export market. Our leaders in the nutmeg board and cocoa board have not been doing justice to us. Throughout history. And today is no difference. Simple issues, they seem cannot get it right. The Cocoa Association, for instance, a simple thing is to notify farmers when they're buying and when they're selling. The Cocoa Association have a chat room. And they have special people on it. I've been trying to get on the chat room about 3 years now. Cultureman used to give me information, but he stopped. You see, I'm criticizing NDC. So he stopped giving me information. And they write it on a board. So you have to go on a board to see it. Or if you're not in the chat room, one of the ways to get it is to go on the board, perhaps every Sunday, to see if they write. In 2023, this must be laughable. And it have to be disgraceful for a management to operate in that. And the Minister of Agriculture today, half his life is spent with these commodity boards. And they can't even get that right. They have 2 of the biggest buying points. They purchase cocoa the same day on the 2 biggest buying points. So you find a lot of cocoa would have to go in the smaller buying point. And then they pay a truck to transport it back. Rather than have one of the buying points on a Tuesday and one maybe Thursday or Friday. And if you, well, I guess a lot of the bigger farmers they do everything possible to find out. Even the chocolate factory, they're not open about it. You don't know if it's a little group of them, what they're doing. And they are not giving farmers back pay. And they're not giving you no reason, no justification, no explanation. They're just not doing it. One have to be suspicious of the Cocoa Association. The Nutmeg Association is not very different. They too write on the board when they're buying cocoa, when they're buying nutmeg. I don't think they have a chat room. So they write on the board. So if you, somebody that you could store nutmeg for a longer period, so that's not a problem. If you don't get them Tuesday, you get them Wednesday or Thursday or next week. Because you could store the nutmeg. But those who, when you're selling cocoa wet, you cannot go and say, well, harvest cocoa if you don't know if they buy. I mean, in God's name, how these things could be going on in 2023? How we could have to be dealing with that problem in 2023? I spoke about a chocolate factory where they allocated a number of shares for farmers, but the farmers have to go in St. George's to buy the shares. And they gave them a deadline. So I think that must be up already. And maybe when we spoke about it on radio, some farmers here, because they never advertise it, they're doing the things in secret. And for a number of years now, they're not giving farmers back pay. Although they claim that the chocolate factory is very successful and they're making money from it. It would be interesting for us to know what is the pay these people on the board getting. It'll be interesting to know what is the administrative cost, the ratio, what it is today and what it was in yesteryear. Because if we have more technology, the ratio in terms of the administrative costs should not have been more. You see, these organizations are not doing justice to our people. And we don't seem to have individuals that will question them. I remember Derek Knights, in a workshop with Derek Knights. He said most of the lawyers was working with the companies. So it's not easy to fight companies. You have some issues. We don't have journalists in Grenada that would write about nutmeg and cocoa and commodity boards and agriculture. You don't have this type of journalists. Our journalists are more associated with political parties. So over the years, although the nutmeg and cocoa industry have brought hundreds of millions of dollars to the economy, yet information is as if it's a secret order. You don't dispense with information easy. Just imagine they have a chat that they have a select few. They remind me in the days of Uncle Gary. When the Nutmeg Association decide that although you're producing nutmeg and you're selling nutmeg, you're not a member of the Nutmeg Association and you cannot attend the meetings. They select who in the industry must attend the meeting. And the government had to intervene and state, once you're a nutmeg producer, automatically you're a member of the Nutmeg Association. And then they refuse to have meetings. And that is when people seize the pool and they take the money in Grenada and bank in Barbados. They never bring back all. We have a Calypsonian. I can't remember who was the Calypsonian that sing about the nutmeg money. They couldn't come to the realization and accept the fact that once you produce in nutmeg, you're a nutmeg farmer. They did not want to deal with these kind of people and them. Nutmeg Association, the Cocoa Association. It's always difficult to understand the philosophy and the mentality of these individuals. And I believe that have significantly contributed to the retarded growth. They have not grown significantly. And they continue with the same pettiness. Although it is not beneficial to the vast majority of the people, some people seems to be benefiting immensely. The Minister of Agriculture, you have to realize you cannot hide. You cannot bluff your way around forever. You must answer some questions. I will want to know, why is it seems that you're sabotaging the Soursop industry by firing the workers in pest management. You did not replace them. I will still want to know, why is it you participated in establishing a chat room for some farmers? I would like to know why Nutmeg Association and Cocoa Association cannot pay NIS for their farmers. That's supposed to be easy to calculate. You have an idea. First of all, you have access to technology and computer. So you have a good idea how much cocoa a farmer selling and how much nutmeg a farmer selling. And you could determine, well, based upon that, we give him a minimum to pay for NIS. So let us suppose you work out this NIS on $1,000. Because when the year ends, he sells 3,000 or 4,000 pounds of nutmeg. And then the NIS could agree to pay lump sum while collecting the money from these farmers. Yes, caller, welcome.
Yeah, Mr. Pierre, good day.
Yes, my brother.
Yeah. I think the country have a cash flow problem, man. I have a friend who working in ministry, and up to yesterday he didn't get paid. So you have to be a cash flow problem, but I don't hear nobody come forward and say, well, look, we're having a problem, difficulty with cash, nothing. But you can come and give the people hope. Don't try to hide, because I don't know, because you make so much bluff, you say you always pay salary. But just quote the situation tight. Just quote and say the situation tight. Don't try to hide, because how long you go hide for that? Because how long go hide? Because he said the financial institution call him and find out. Well, they can call him because the money just passed today. But he said, well, if calling him for what happened, if he lose his job or whatever. So I don't know, but he don't lose his job, but he don't get paid. So I don't know what's going on. I don't know what's going on. I don't know what's going on about that. But the finance minister should come out and say straight out what happened. If you can't control finance, give it to one for my control. You can't just show off. They're not country, another place to go and show off. The situation tight, he affecting everybody. You understand? So let come forward and say, well, look, we have like a problem. So people go by the art, Jones themselves and all. But just have people who thinking they will get every day, they think they will get it. They're not good for the country. Take care, Mr. Pierre. Have a good weekend.
Yes, well, it's not good for the country and it's not good for the economy. Because confidence is a very important thing in any economy. And when people don't have confidence, you could have contraction of the economy. So if a month after the first budget, it seems that the government, whether it is be logistics or it can't be money, because they was jumping up the treasury pregnant. And the actions doesn't seem as if he has anything to do with money, because they're flying as if they are a hostess. And they have employed a number of people, and as we go down, we'll ask them to give us a list of the people and the pay they're getting. Because they were publishing the names of the people in the mission. So they will have to do that. So it have to be maybe logistics. So what I need to do is to come to the public and give explanation to avoid speculation running wild. So for instance now, I'm appealing to the Minister of Agriculture. Speak to us. Well, you don't have to speak to us. Speak to the journalists that you people give high marks. And they might help to present it in a palatable manner to the public. Because you may need that. If you're afraid and you're hiding, speak to those you have selected. And they perhaps are your friends, your political friends, so they will present it to the public in a more palatable manner. I have a soft heart for politicians. So I never upset if a politician speak to journalists that they're comfortable with. You see, you make the blunder. You make the political mistake by identifying journalists in the country you claim that is objective. So go and speak to them. But you must tell us if you are sabotaging the Soursop industry. Why? Because that cannot be in the interest of the NDC. That could never be in the interest of the NDC. Soursop contributes more than 10 million US to the economy. And you can plant 200 acres of Soursop more. Because we have a market we can satisfy. And for the next 5-10 years, we may have that market. Anytime Mexico come in, crop or smoke with pipe without tobacco. Anytime Mexico is permitted to export fresh Soursop on the US market, crop or smoke with pipe without tobacco. So you need to provide information. Now you stop the individuals who are involved in pest management. I said, well, it's just your program where you fire in those because you believe they have an inclination to support the NNP. So you replace them. Replace them. I know you're looking for only good people. Replace them. Don't destroy the Soursop industry. In addition to that, the Minister of Agriculture, what are you doing with Paradise Estate, Granby Estate? Are you preparing it for ruin? They have crops on the ground, they can't harvest it. Because you fire and stand over 30 workers. And you leave 3 or 4. Why? That is the first estate you intend to sell? You forget your promise that this estate is a good estate to grow weed. You set up the people. You set up the workers. You promise they will grow weed. Now you father. You believe all of them is NNP. How you could believe that? Then how you win election? If you believe all these people is NNP, how you win election? You have to be them that vote for you. You're going to have a challenge finding workers. If you believe that the members of the NDC is smart, intelligent, educated people, and all the NNPs are different category that are good, you're going to have trouble getting them. But you can sabotage Granby Estate. You can sabotage the Soursop industry. Mr. Adrian Thomas, you was involved in Cocoa Association Cocoa Association and Nutmeg. So you're part responsible for what is going on there. You know, we could do better, you know. We could change things. If you continue on that trajectory, the damage you're going to do to the agriculture economy, it will be difficult to recover. According to the Minister of Labor, you will do irreparable damage. Irreparable. Though easy to repair, it will be irreparable damage. So I want to plead with the extension officers. You may have to lobby the minister, the chief technical officer, and the officer responsible for pest management. You have to lobby the permanent secretary to speak to the minister, to let him know that he is sabotaging the Soursop industry. And the exporters and the growers of Soursop, you have to demand a meeting with the minister. If the chief technical officer cannot meet him, sometimes you don't want to speak to them. Sometimes you believe they're green too. So you have to speak to help them, to show him, to convince him that we can destroy this industry. I mean, if I was able to speak to my partner, Willie, I would have gone and speak to him. But he believes we only make a noise, very dismissive of us. We make a noise. So I'm appealing to the exporters and the Soursop growers and all those who have any secondary interest in the market to seek explanation, because it seems to me the government is sabotaging the Soursop market. And based upon history, it is not far-fetched. Remember, they cut down all Belvedere nutmeg. They cut down Belvedere nutmeg. They took a loan in the bank to destroy nutmeg in Belvedere. And no extension officer in Grenada agreed with them. And I am convinced that what is going on now is sensational economics. If it looks nice and it sounds attractive, you say it. It doesn't matter about the economic importance. Yeah. And you can give me a call. The number to call is 442-0175. We have to prepare to seriously subsidize agriculture. We have 4 crops already that we're able to export: fish, nutmeg, cocoa, soursop. Government just have to strengthen these areas. The fishing industry and the soursop industry is suffering for space, capacity to have the plane. They have to transport their products through the airlines, and they are seriously challenged in terms of space. Yes, caller, welcome.
Good evening.
Yes, my caller, welcome.
That is good. We could do better. In Sheldon Scott, and your sister will pay back that money, we're good to go.
Yes, this caller threw a punch on it, so I'll respond to this one. She says Sheldon Scott pay back money and my sister-in-law. And that's the typical radical National Democratic members. So I'll stay on the Sheldon Scott issue for a while. I always believed that the Sheldon Scott issue was one that was badly handled by the Ministry of Finance. When you have a telephone from the Ministry of Finance, I don't think telephone bills come to you. So if you have a telephone, but that is not hard to verify, you could ask any senior officer who have a telephone. The telephone bill don't come to you. So you might be using your telephone, but the bill don't come to you. So if you're not cognizant or you're not conscious of what you're involved in, you're roaming. Let's suppose you travel and you're on roaming. That telephone may be running up and you don't even know. If you are using your telephone for hotspot, that telephone bill may be running up and you don't even know. So if I had to challenge politicians, I would ask them, let me see all the telephone bill. Even now, all of your telephone bill, all ministers' telephone bill, and let's go back in NNP time now. All of them. I want to see everybody's telephone bill. And I'm not saying that the bill was not excessive. Of course it was excessive. But who is responsible for that? Is it the individual that's using the phone? Yes, he has some responsibility. But the Ministry of Finance have to manage that phone bill. Or they should have an automatic cutoff. That when your phone reach $500, bang, Digicel cut it off. Sometimes they operate with group. So the group might pay $10,000 for phone bill. But some people's phone is $10 and some is $1,000. So while Sheldon Scott seems to have bared all the attack on his phone, this issue is a management issue with the Ministry of Finance. Yes, caller, welcome.
Good afternoon, Mr. Pierre.
Yes, my brother.
Mr. Pierre, the farmers, what is wrong with the farmers' mouth now? Do you remember when the teachers' pay was docked? All farmers used to be there demonstrating with the teachers. Pay the teachers their money, pay the teachers their money. Farmers being sabotaged now, and the mouth shut. What happened? Crazy glue or super glue on the lip? If they don't know what to do, tell them, give me the power. And I am going to deal with the minister for them. I could deal with him for them. I'm not a farmer, and I don't want to be a farmer. Good afternoon.
Yes, my brother. My brother, you see, one of the challenges we have in Grenada is that the Cocoa Association, the Nutmeg Association, the NDC, the GNP was always one and the same. It's very difficult to draw a line of demarcation between the policy and the philosophies of NDC, GCNA, and Grenada Cocoa Association. The members of the board always try to win seat in Grenada and fail. Throughout history, when one of them ran against David Sylvester, he had one Calypsonian that he used to campaign. David Sylvester never said nothing. He used to bring a Calypsonian to sing, "Where the Nutmeg Money." So up to today, the Cocoa Association, the GCNA, and the Nutmeg Association is almost one and the same. So when NDC in power, you hardly hear them grumble. If another party in power, they're on the war part. And they do not seek the interests of the ordinary farmers. No. That is why Cocoa Association have a chat room. And they write it on the board. They want to frustrate and fed up some farmers. And they are doing a good job of it. Because some farmers planting Soursop through the cocoa. Some farmers neglect the cocoa field. Yes, caller, welcome.
Good afternoon, Mr.
Yes, my brother, welcome.
How are you, sir?
Great, man.
Right. Now, the lady spoke about the Sheldon Scott saga with the telephone. While I agree that if Sheldon Scott do any wrong, he have to, and he's responsible for it. Up to now, the telephone company never make a release. The telephone company said that they're investigating and they're going to give a release. To date, We have never heard nothing from the telephone company. And the telephone company should have been monitoring Sheldon Scott usage of the telephone.
What the NDC need to do now is to go and do the investigation. Because you see, when a public officer has a phone, the bill don't come to them.
No, and
The
it
bill
was
go to the
proven,
government.
it was proven that other persons had
A lot.
telephone,
A lot.
telephone around the same time.
So what we all this
So
stuff
while I
is
agree,
like
Sheldon
politics.
Scott, by all means, if Sheldon Scott is wrong, he have to, and he admitted that he was wrong.
Well, he just
But
speak
where-
out a ton. You don't have to pay
Right.
no bill.
But where is the telephone company that said that he used 700
But
and
it-
7,000
watch me.
MD?
But my brother, the telephone company don't have to tell the public anything. So, and this thing is a management issue. And this thing is only kicked about politically. Because I don't think Sheldon Scott had to pay 1 cent. Because he's not the bills never come to him. He perhaps don't even know what the package that he had was.
Yeah, but I admit that. What Sheldon Scott of himself said that he is going to pay. He prepared to pay.
Well,
but I'm saying to that the telephone company never tell us who else or tell us
Caller, the telephone company don't working with you. They don't have to tell you nothing. The
that me have to tell the public. The government.
caller. The telephone company have the government as a client. So the telephone company only going to respond to the government.
But have they respond to the government?
Well, you don't know, I don't know.
But the government haven't said why they respond to them.
So this is a good opportunity for the NDC now to do their investigation and come up with the result.
So
Yeah.
I mean, I agree on that.
And Sheldon Scott must have said he will pay.
Yeah, he did say that.
But Sheldon Scott, was he responsible for paying bill?
Not as far as I know.
Who telephone bill used to come to Sheldon Scott?
No.
Well, what Sheldon Scott say?
The state we were responsible for paying it.
All right, so that's how it goes. And these things happen throughout the Caribbean, you know. Sometimes you have your phone and phone roaming. You remember the government of Grenada was in some negotiation with the companies over roaming in phone in the Caribbean?
Yeah, but all I'm trying to say is that what the woman is making, the point the woman is making about if Sheldon Scott pay back his money, going to take. That have nothing to do with Sheldon Scott at this point.
Well, the point she making is to throw a low punch at me. And that's why I responded, because she said, Emmeline Pierre, and I want to respond to it.
And what you said about the minister, about
Minister of Agriculture.
As it is presently now, the present Minister of Agriculture was a pest officer, you know.
Well,
he worked under the same.
For half his life, he worked in pest management.
Right, he was a pest officer.
For the next half, he worked in...
So that if anybody is being fired, he must be aware of it. He must be aware of it because he is the minister now. The permanent secretary who may have write the letters to the people must inform him. He must be informed from somewhere. So he must know. So the people that are out of jobs, he have to know.
Caller, the question is not really the people are out of job, you know. He abandoning the pest control in Soursop.
Yeah, and I'm saying that he have to know. So if the people are not working, he have to know
So
why they're not working. So he owe that explanation to the state.
Yeah.
Yes, he owe that to the state because he have to know.
But they're not speaking.
Well,
So we have to continue asking.
what I realize, they're not speaking, but the unions seems to be in marriage now. The unions are in union no.
A long color. Yeah.
Because the union was speaking out before. Now we're hearing that the lady in Carriacou, who is the aunt to the minister of Carriacou, is being fired now. And the union aware that the woman is being fired, but we don't hear nothing from the union again.
Well,
So
again,
secret marriage.
caller, the unions don't have to come to tell the public anything, you know. The unions is only to the members. You could call on the union to make some statements, but they don't have to. The union only concerned about the members.
Yeah, but that's the public matter. It's not only a member now.
Caller.
The union has to seek the right of the public.
Caller, the only time the union need the public is if they have industrial action, they want the sympathy for the public.
Oh,
but
oh,
the
so
union don't need the public now.
So, in apart from sympathy, they don't need the public?
What they need the public for? Sympathy and solidarity. That is what they need you for.
Shouldn't be so though.
A lot of time we don't understand. We get involved in things we don't understand.
So when they go to the press, who they going to the press?
They go for sympathy.
Oh.
That's what they go for. Yeah, and we jump up and give them sympathy.
I believe it is different folks and different strokes.
Okay.
You know the principal of school used to beat some children harder than some? According to who you is. You don't get any same licks as the other person, you know.
Well, if you are big nose, thick lip, kinky hair, is hide they say you have on your back, you know. Doesn't skin you know. So they say tan his hide. And they give about 30 lash. You expect to have same skin. If you have a fair complexion, you don't expect your skin to be thicker if you're darker.
The good thing in life is what goes wrong supposed to come wrong.
Not all the time.
And what is good for the goose must always good for the gander too.
Yeah.
Because you don't know when the gander will be there.
Yes,
just like you don't know when the goose is there. You don't know when the gander will be there.
Yeah.
Take care.
Yes, and caller, responding to the statement you make about Emlyn Pierre. I've heard that shown around all the time. They have an issue where Deacon made statement, I think, involved with the faith workers. And after Deacon made his statement, Master Carl on the road on RealFM demolished it. In a very flippant and very disrespectful way. Deacon Mitchell was asking, what is people sanitizing hand? And what they're doing? They're wiping on table? And he was dramatizing 6 million. And I listened to Master Cole say, if you have 300 workers, and he has been very conservative, because it's more than 300 workers, and you pay them $800 a month for 24 months, I think that work up to about 5.7 million. And if you have 12 supervisors and you pay them $1,200 a month, it work out to over 300, nearly $1 million. In addition to administrative costs, logistics, telephone, and the same disinfectant that Dick Mitchell was so dismissive about. So what he needs is to pay the people the money. And you continue to throw these punches. But what I like to do, I follow Mr. Exeter. Mr. Exeter said the young man shake out the truth on him. Mr. Nyko said tied back. He must not leave here without the truth. So when you call on my program, I like to plan the truth. You know, and we don't have to fight to defend truth. We just put the truth on you. If you're born, you're born. Because the truth does born. Yes, scholars. So it's very important for us. We could solve the problem we have in the country. If the government believes, yes, scholar, welcome.
Yeah, Mr. Pierre.
Yes, my brother.
Mr. Pierre, I find we're talking too much now. We need action, you know. We need some action in this country. We have to go on the street. We need action. We can't stay on talking, so they don't hear us. When we start to demonstrate, then they go hear us, you know. This kind of talk, wasting time. We have to demonstrate.
Sometimes demonstration must always be a last action. People must, in a democratic process, in a democracy, people must learn to lobby. The government is relatively new and they're making rudimentary mistakes. The government is kind of a little bit too bitter. And the NDC believe they are the smartest things in sliced bread. So I believe dialogue is very important. We have a lot of groups and organizations in this country that you have to pressure them to open their mouth. Because they like to command respect. They like people to respect them. So you must at least challenge them. So take, for instance, when we had COVID-19, the government was following the instructions and the dictates of the reputable medical organization in the World Health Organization, PAHO, CAFA, and also the medical doctors in Grenada. I always say the government in the Caribbean went behind them. The University of the West Indies agreed that that is the route the government should go. But we had a lot of Grenadians who heed. They was discouraging people from taking vaccine while they took vaccine. The only prominent member of the National Democratic Congress that publicly said and encouraged people to take vaccine was Ray Roberts. All the other executive members of the National Democratic Congress and the trade union took vaccine quietly, but was discouraging people sometimes in taking it. How do I know they took vaccine quietly? Those that was traveling, because they must take the vaccine to travel. Some members of the NDC was actively involved in encouraging people to defy the restrictions. You remember the jab, particularly in St. Andrews and St. Patrick's? All the reputable medical organization was saying the people who are likely to succumb to the disease are the elderly people, people whose immune system are compromised, and people who have other conditions like diabetes, asthmatic, hypertension, and others, cancer patient. Irrespective of that, the young, strong people did not care. They said jab must play, jab must play. Even the lawyers in the country jump up and say jab have right. Over 16 people in a home, about 16. It could be 14, 15 or something. People in a home in St. Patrick's die. One man, when he realized people dying, so 76-year-old, he run out of the place. I understand it's only some women are going to look for him. I don't even believe the police go and look for him. Up to now, they don't get him yet. They stop look. They might say, that dead. That is a level of insensitivity that we have been building up in this country over the years. And I have always chastised the National Democratic Congress for helping to hasten that attitude and culture. When you listen to a number of their members, the expressions, they're quick to pass aspersion, and the statements they make are very insensitive to the elderly, the physically challenged, and the marginalized in Grenada. I always remember this friend of mine that got chopped up in his land from St. Patrick's. The last time I spoke to him, he said even the police and all forget him. Got a chop from his ears to below his nose, on his arm, on his leg. He spent months in the hospital. He's around 80 years. He went to his own land. And he said, when I saw him, was a sense of resignation. He said the police and all give up on him. We had 3 other elderly people stoned in the land. Then we have a government that come in and take away $150 from the elderly people and the physically challenged, and some people supporting that. all sorts of frivolous and vexatious excuses are made, irrespective of the fact that in 2008, the very said government today promised to give these people $450. Irrespective of the fact that Deacon Mitchell quoted the World Health Organization, chastised the government for trying to keep the people in poverty and claiming that they should get $650, advocating it. And the very said Deacon Mitchell redraw $150 from these people pay. Yes, caller, welcome.
Good afternoon, Mr. Pierre.
Yes, my brother.
That 150, I don't know, that really have people going. That is a real cancer going on. I wonder why the Dr. Kid Mitchell didn't put the 150 permanent. I wonder why he didn't put it. Why did he put it for 1 year? That is the question, the answer I want to get from it. Why didn't put it permanent?
You want me to tell you?
Yeah, tell me why he didn't put it permanent.
Okay, caller. Caller, budget is done every year. So the government put 150. The Minister of Finance said it is not a temporary incentive. It means that it is permanent. But it doesn't mean that our next government can take it up.
Well,
You remember, the NDC promised to give $450 in 2008. And the NDC promised to make it $650. The government budgeted and put $150 more. But I honestly believe the government would have added more and more till it's $650.
well,
So this government cannot commit a crime, because what they did is a crime, and blaming somebody else for it.
oh Lord. This
What the government did, ma'am, is robbery with violence.
Well, I don't know how to understand this thing. I don't know what's going on.
You could understand. Do you think it is right? Do you think it is right to remove the 150?
I wouldn't say they're right.
Do you think it is right or wrong?
100%, I wouldn't say they're right to take it up. But if the other government put it for 1 year and they come and they see they cannot continue for the 1 year to leave the 150 and they take it out, I don't see the reason why they shouldn't remove it. Maybe if they didn't have, they have a reason for removing it. That is why they remove it.
But do you think if they have a reason, they should tell the public?
Of course, yes. They should,
Then
should notify them all and say, look, Dr. Kidd added that to the thing for 1 year, and we leave it for 6 months, but we can't afford to keep it for the 1 year, continue with it. They should come out and say it. I understand that.
I like how you're thinking. Thank you very much.
understand that.
Yes, sir. I like how you're thinking. Thank you very much. The National Democratic Congress never give reason, never give explanation. The minister said in December that it would remain. And the same minister come back. She forget she's a child of labor. The same minister come back in a threatening way to justify robbery with violence. We are encouraging them to put it back. You rob the elderly, put it back. And we are encouraging the Minister of Agriculture to meet with the exporters and the farmers of Soursop. Don't sabotage the Soursop industry. We come to the end of our program. We're sorry for those comments that we were not able to read. Some of them I will comment on them. We're back with you next week, Monday. And remember, we have the extension tomorrow. I'll be joining Master Call. Thank you very much.